Pharaoh Thutmose III, a name that reverberates through the halls of ancient history. The Napoleon of Egypt, as some would call him, was no ordinary ruler. Through masterful strategy, unyielding ambition, and unparalleled foresight, Thutmose III elevated Egypt from a mighty kingdom to a sprawling empire. As the sixth pharaoh of the illustrious 18th dynasty, his reign marked a turning point, a golden era of military dominance, artistic innovation, and administrative brilliance. Today, we unravel the story of this legendary pharaoh, a man who turned adversity into triumph and left an indelible mark on the world. Born around 1481 BCE, Thutmose III was destined for greatness. Yet, destiny first tested his patience. He was the son of Pharaoh Thutmose II, but not by his chief queen, which placed him in a precarious position within Egypt's dynastic maze. After his father's untimely death, the throne was technically his. But there was one obstacle standing in the way: Hatshepsut. Hatshepsut, his formidable stepmother and the widow of Thutmose II, seized the reins of power. Declaring herself pharaoh, a rarity among Egyptian women, she relegated Thutmose III to the shadows. For nearly 2 decades, he remained a king in name only, while Hatshepsut ruled with an iron fist and an ambitious vision for Egypt's domestic prosperity. She commissioned temples, strengthened trade routes, and presented herself as a divine ruler. And what of Thutmose III during these years? Stories suggest he was in military training, honing the skills that would later define his reign. He was no passive observer. Quietly, he absorbed lessons in governance and strategy, preparing for his moment, a moment that would arrive inevitably with Hatshepsut's death in 1458 BCE. When the throne finally and fully became his, Thutmose III wasted no time asserting himself. He ordered many of Hatshepsut's inscriptions erased from Egypt's monuments, as if to reclaim his rightful place from her shadow. But Thutmose III's ambition extended far beyond domestic matters. The young ruler had his eyes on something bigger: empire. Thutmose III began his reign with a clear goal: to secure Egypt's dominance beyond its borders. His first test? A coalition of rebellious city-states in Canaan, led by the king of Kadesh, who dared to challenge Egypt's authority. The battlefield? A strategic city now etched permanently into military history: Megiddo. It was 1457 BCE, and Thutmose III faced a choice. 2 routes led to Megiddo, one wide and safe, the other narrow but faster. Conventional wisdom advised caution, but Thutmose chose the narrow pass, risking ambush to gain the element of surprise. And surprise he did. His army descended on the coalition forces like a storm, encircling their camp and forcing them to retreat inside the fortress of Megiddo. The siege that followed became legendary. Thutmose III's forces waited patiently, cutting off supplies to the city while fortifying their own position. After 7 grueling months, Megiddo surrendered, marking a decisive victory for Egypt. But this wasn't just a battle, it was a statement, a declaration that Egypt was the dominant force in the ancient Near East. And this was only the beginning. Over the next 2 decades, Thutmose III launched 17 military campaigns across Canaan, Syria, and as far as the Euphrates River. No ruler before him had pushed Egypt's boundaries so far. He exacted tribute from the defeated cities, filling Egypt's coffers with gold, precious stones, and exotic goods. Under his watch, Egypt wasn't just a kingdom, it was an empire. But Thutmose wasn't only focused on lands to the north. To the south, he expanded Egypt's reach into Nubia, extending the border to the 4th cataract of the Nile. Nubia was rich in resources like gold and ivory, and under Thutmose's rule, these treasures flowed into Egypt, fostering an era of unprecedented prosperity. Chapter 3: The Visionary Builder. Thutmose III wasn't only a conqueror, he was a creator. After securing his empire, he turned his attention to Egypt itself, ensuring that his reign would be remembered not just for its military feats, but for its cultural advancements. His crowning architectural achievement was the expansion of the Temple of Karnak, a sprawling complex dedicated to the god Amun. Thutmose III added monumental pillars, ornate reliefs, and an innovative botanical garden, a carved representation of the plants and animals he encountered in his conquests. Through these additions, Karnak became the heartbeat of New Kingdom Egypt, a testament to divine power and royal patronage. And then there were the obelisks. Thutmose III erected towering stone monuments adorned with hieroglyphic inscriptions, celebrating his victories and honoring the gods. One of these obelisks now stands far from its original home, in Istanbul's Hippodrome, a silent witness to Thutmose's lasting influence. In art and literature, too, his reign shined. The Annals of Thutmose III, inscribed on the walls of Karnak, provide one of the earliest known written military records in human history. They chronicle not only battles, but also the spoils of war, painting a vivid picture of Egypt's dominance. No dialogue for this visual shot, allowing the grandeur of Karnak to speak for itself. After ruling for a remarkable 54 years, Thutmose III passed away in 1425 BCE. By then, Egypt was at the height of its golden age. He left behind an empire stretching from the banks of the Nile deep into Asia, a legacy secured by his offspring and successors, including his son, Pharaoh Amenhotep II. But Thutmose III was more than his victories. He was a symbol of ambition, resilience, and vision. He transformed the Egyptian military into a sophisticated force, employing strategies and technologies that would set the standard for centuries. His administrative reforms created stability across the empire, ensuring that his conquests could be maintained. Perhaps his greatest accomplishment was the unity he fostered. Through his campaigns and diplomacy, Thutmose III brought diverse regions and cultures under one banner, Egypt's banner, laying the foundation for what historians now call the Golden Empire. And yet, his story remains relevant today. Archaeologists still study the inscriptions and monuments left by his hand, marveling at the precision and grandeur of his era. His name continues to inspire generations, a reminder of what can be achieved through determination and vision. Conclusion: the pharaoh who defined a dynasty. Pharaoh Thutmose III wasn't merely a ruler, he was a force of nature. A warrior, a builder, and a visionary, he defined the new kingdom of Egypt and set the stage for centuries of glory. His empire, though ancient, continues to resonate as a symbol of human achievement. From the sands of Megiddo to the towering obelisks of Karnak, his legacy echoes through time, a beacon of excellence that reminds us of the potential within us all.